Welcome back to the video, and in today's video, we're ranking every single division in the NFL from best to worst, or from worst to best. Basically, I'm ranking every single division in the entire NFL, all 8 of them, ranking them from the worst, which is 8, to the best, which is 1, based on how they're going to do this year. I have them currently into the separations. I wish I could get dividers for each of them, but I couldn't get them. But you could see that, like, for example, the NFC West is that first team with the Cardinals, Niners, Seahawks, and Rams, and then the South, North, East, and then the AFC. So pretty much I'm going to be ranking every single division based on how I think that they're going to do this year as a whole division. Before we get into the video, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel because we are posting daily bangers to the channel, and you don't want to miss out on any of that, so please make sure to sub. And also, comment down below where you would have put these divisions, and if you think I got anything wrong, because I'm down to talk in the comments about anything. So, let's get straight into it. So, in my opinion, the worst division this year, I don't think for anybody's shock, is going to be the AFC South. I mean, this division is not great. It's just not. Let's just talk about it for a second here before we move on. You got the Texans, who did make a lot of good offseason moves. They got Devin Singletary, they got Dalton Schultz. They also lost Brandon Cooks, but they got CJ Stroud, they got Will Anderson. They actually had a really, really good offseason. But how good do you think they're going to be and be able to develop as much? I don't think they're going to have a winning record this year. The Colts, similar, not a terrible offseason. I mean, you got your franchise quarterback possibly in Anthony Richardson. You got Gardner Minshew as a good backup or starter. I actually don't know who the starter is going to be there. And you got some more other good weapons. I actually don't mind the team there, but they're definitely not going to be a winning record. I have them being pretty bad still. Next up, the Jaguars. That's the only, I would say, above 500 team, the only really good team in the division. Really like the Jaguars. They're going to definitely be a good team. I think I have them winning around 11 games because they're really that good. And the Titans, I think they're going to have a big drop-off this year. They have Derrick Henry, and then that's about it. Ryan Tannehill's getting older, and he's just not as good as he used to be, and their whole other team is kind of terrible, except on the defense, except for, like, Kevin Byard. So, yeah, I think 8th place. I think this is one of the easier rankings that we're going to see because they have no talent. And why don't we just stay on the south side, but go over to the NFC, and we're gonna put the NFC South at number 7. They're just not that good. I will say that they get a lot of upgrades, and that's the good thing. They definitely improved their division, but they also lost Tom Brady and the Bucks. Now we're gonna struggle. We'll go through each team. The Falcons. I actually have them being one of the better teams in that division. I have them being second. I think they have a lot of talent, possibly. You got Desmond Ridder, who I think could be quite solid. Taylor Heineke. You got I said Brian Robinson. Bijan Robinson in the draft. And Tyler Algier. I know it's not spelled definitely. I can't say his name. Wide receivers are still a problem, but defense is solid. Offense is solid. They're going to be a decent team. The Panthers, again, young talent, very young defense that's pretty up and coming and good. But there's a lot of question marks with their team. The Saints, I think, are going to be the front runner in that division. You just got Derek Carr. Your offense is going to look a lot better now. Your offense, honestly, the weapons around it's amazing if everyone can stay healthy. Defense is still decent, not amazing, but decent. And then the Bucks, in my opinion, would be last in the division. They're just not good anymore. Still a good receiving core and still a decent defense, but without Tom Brady and with starting Baker Mayfield, might be a problem. So I'm gonna put them in 7th. Again, it's a kind of similar to the teams to the South where you have one like easy division winner, and that's the Jags and the Saints, and then you have all those guys that are young but not quite there yet. Next up, we have the 6th place, the 6th division, and I'm gonna go with the NFC West. They do have some stars. I really like the Niners and the Seahawks. I think they both have really good teams. I think they're both gonna be playoff teams. But then you get into the other parts of the division. You're talking about the Arizona Cardinals, who just aren't that good. I think they're the worst team this year. Budda Baker wants to leave. They just released DeAndre Hopkins. Kyler Murray's not ever going to stay healthy. They got a new head coach. There's a lot of question marks with their team, and they're just not that good. You have the Niners, who I think is going to win that division. I think they're going to have 13 wins. The only thing that the Niners need to solve is the quarterback situation. I know Brock Purdy can be good. I know Trey Lance has potential, but it's definitely their weak point of position. But you have a top 5 running back in the NFL in Christian McCaffrey, a top 5 arguably receiving core with Ayuk and Debo. You have the second best tight end in the game in George Kittle, and then your defense is the best. Your O line is the best. You probably have the best head coach in this division. So I put you at 6. Then looking at the Seahawks, I think they're also really, really good. I think Gino's gonna have a lot of people to throw to. You know how you're gonna have DK, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and Tyler Lockett. Like that's pretty crazy. You still have Kenneth Walker. The only thing I worry about with the Seahawks is their defense, but I still think they're gonna be a playoff team. And then you have the Rams, who I guess could bounce back because now Stafford's gonna be fully healthy and they still have Cooper Kupp. But they did lose some players like Jalen Ramsey, and I don't see them being that good this year. Okay, so we have those three down. I think those were honestly pretty easy. This is where it's going to be a little bit tough to tell who is going to get into that fifth spot. And this is tough, but in my opinion, the fifth spot is going to be the NFC North. And we're going to stay on the NFC side. I think this team's got a lot of talent. I think this division has a lot of talent. In my opinion, the worst of that division is going to be the Green Bay Packers. You got rid of Aaron Rodgers. Your offense is not the greatest. Your defense is still really solid, and your O line's decent, but you're not going to have a lot of opportunities to score many points because you got Jordan Love at quarterback. You have the Vikings, who are definitely going to regress from last year. I don't have them being that good this year. I think they maybe will make a playoff team, but they'll be a low playoff team if they are one. You got a great offense, but their defense is horrible. Their defense is one of the worst in the league. You have the Bears, who is an up and coming team. They got DJ Moore now. Justin Fields is progressing, so I like their team a lot. And then, in my opinion, you have the front runners, the Detroit Lions, who have a great offense, and they really address some of their needs on the defensive side with the cornerbacks getting Cam Sutton. And I think their division is underrated, but it's definitely not a top four division. I think their division is just fine. Now going over, we have four divisions left. This is where it gets really, really tricky to decide actually who deserves to be there. But in my opinion, at fourth, I'm going to go with the AFC West. You have some amazing talent in Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs and Justin Herbert and the Chargers. But then there is some interesting concerns with that division as well. So we'll start with Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, the Chiefs probably the front runner to win the whole thing next year. In my opinion, I have the Bengals. I'm just going to be honest. I have the Bengals winning the whole thing next year. That's why I predicted in my short. Go check that out if you haven't already. But the Chiefs are definitely a front runner to win the Super Bowl. I mean, they're amazing. You don't even need that many players. As long as you have Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and Andy Reid, you're good. Offense is amazing. Defense is pretty underrated. And then you move on to the Chargers, who also have a really good team. I mean, their head coach is horrible, but you have a really good offense. You have Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler, a lot of really good weapons. Defense has stars and has potential, but never seem to really unlock it. But we'll see what happens there in the coming future. And then you have the Broncos, who could have a bounce back year because they got rid of their head coach, but there's a lot of questions and concerns about their team. And then you have the Raiders, who I don't think are that good. They got rid of Derek Carr. They have Jimmy G now. I don't think they're going to be horrible. I just think they'll be the worst in the division. So now moving on, we have the top three. This is the podium right here. This is where the tough decisions are going to be coming. But at number three, I have the NFC North. And the reason why I put them ahead of the AFC West is because I said the NFC North, the AFC North. The reason I put them above the AFC West is because they do have a lot of consistency. Like I think their worst team might be a winning record, and that's saying something. But in my opinion, the worst teams in that division is going to be the Baltimore Ravens. You have a lot of questions and concerns. You don't know how Lamar's going to do with the new people that they acquired. Their defense is not as good anymore, and their offense has a lot of injury players that could affect their season. Then you have the Bengals, though, who is a Super Bowl contender, have the second best quarterback in the league, the best receiving core in the league, a really solid running back who isn't as good as anymore, but he's still really good, in Joe Mixon, and their defense is pretty solid. I know you lost out on Jesse Bates, but I have them being really, really good still. The Browns, who I think can actually be really, really underrated this year, as long as Deshaun Watson can improve himself. They got Zadarius Smith. They have all the weapons that they need. They just need to go on a run. Then the Steelers, who also could have a really good year. Kenny Pickett and George Pickens having hopefully a really good next year and a good bounce back year, especially for Kenny Pickett. But their division's stacked, so I put them at 3. So we have 2 divisions left. We have one in the NFC, we have and the AFC, and we have both the East division. So congrats to the East divisions. You guys are great. You guys are crushing it. But at number 2, I have the NFC East. And there's only a couple reasons why. It's pretty much because of the Washington Commanders that really sells this division. because their division's amazing. You have the Cowboys, who's a Super Bowl contender. You have the Eagles, who are a Super Bowl contender. Both with amazing offenses and two top defenses in the entire NFL. The Giants, who is a super underrated team and probably will have a winning record and maybe squeak into the playoffs. But the Commanders kind of sell. I don't think they're horrible, but I think they're going to be a pretty bad team this year. And I think that's what hurts that division from not being number one. But I still really like that division. Cowboys are great. You have Dak, Tony Pollard, Dallas to get his opportunity. You have an amazing receiving core, great O-line, great defense, some really good stars. Micah Parsons. The Eagles, that's just weapon filled. Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, DeAndre Swift, uh, like really, really good players, and I don't see them stopping. Giants are a team that you can never not count on because maybe they don't have the greatest roster when looking at it, but their team is really good, and you have the head coach of the year. Commanders not as good, but they're not the worst team in the league at least. And that means that coming in at first place to win this division battle is the AFC East. This division probably wouldn't have been first going into last year, but with the recent additions for the Jets of Aaron Rodgers and the Dolphins of Jalen Ramsey, it really makes them the best in the NFL based on the division. You have the Bills, who are a Super Bowl contender, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, Gabriel Davis, James Cook, just an incredible team, one of the best defenses in the NFL as well. The Dolphins, Tua, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill, and now you have Jalen Ramsey, Xavier Howard, a really, really good team. You have the Jets, who now have Aaron Rodgers, one of the best O-line in the NFL, some good weapons like Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, and yeah, their team looks amazing. Their defense is not amazing, but it's pretty average. And then you have the Patriots, and you can never count out the Patriots because they have Bill Belichick. Their roster never looks good. Their roster looks not great this year, but I'm not going to count them out because it seems like every single time I do, they're going to go off and they're going to crush it. I'm not going to count them out. I bet they're going to be a really, really, really solid team this year. Definitely not a winning record. I mean, if they get a winning record, that's just all because of Bill Belichick. But probably a 500 team, in my opinion. And that's the end of me ranking every single NFL division. So to recap, in 8th place, we have the AFC South. In 7th, we have the NFC South. In 6th, we have the NFC West. In 5th, we have the NFC North. In 4th, we have the AFC West. In 3rd, we have the AFC North. In 2nd, we have the NFC East. And in 1st, we have the AFC East. I would like to know what you think about this down below in the comments on what do you think, how I rank them, what you disagree or agree with. I hope you guys all enjoy this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!